position, I think he's the favourite still, especially with white. But Radjabov, he is so good. He knows how to get into his comfort zone, probably more than any other top player right now. And okay, we see Magnus serve with a different hand. He does open with the queen's pawn this time. Queen's pawn opening, both sides bringing their knights out. And Radjabov there just pushing a pawn, getting ready to do something that we call fianchettoing the bishop. Black's bishop will be on the longest possible diagonal for it. Magnus didn't expect this one. He expected Radjabov maybe to go for the queen's gambit, and that's why Magnus has paused at this early stage. Magnus just trying to choose a setup. Magnus, in this type of position, he's played plenty of things. He recently played a blitz game against me, where he brought white's bishop out the whole way to eye up Black's knight. Will he do that again? Or will we see him maybe try to gain some space in the centre with his pawns? What are you betting on here, Yamanka?
This is a surprise, and a surprise both for Magnus and also for me, because Radjabov has actually gone back to a trusty old friend, right? The king's, potentially the king's Indian, which is what this was his calling card. This is Radjabov's calling card when he was younger. You know what? I'm going to say, I was going to suggest a different move. I thought he might pick up his knight and move it to another square, but okay, he has decided he is going to adopt a more mainstream approach and pushes up his pawn to accompany the queen's pawn, and now Radjabov continuing with his approach of developing the dark side bishop. I'm really fascinated as to which approach. Oh, okay, he's gone for the fianchetto system. The fianchetto is this pawn move, and the reason you put the pawn there is to develop the light squared bishop on the longest diagonal possible. And now we see a very, very tricky move from Radjabov. In fact, whenever I've played this opening with the white pieces, I've always been slightly uncomfortable when Black plays this particular pawn push.
Yep, it is very trendy, this last pawn push for Black. It seems to be what most of the top King's Indian experts go for in this type of position. King's Indian players who favour this setup with Black, they tend to be counter-attackers. They tend to allow white to gain a bit more space here, but they do fight back against that space. They do lash out later. With Black's last couple of moves, Black has castled a pawn, castled kingside. We did see a trade of pawns, and now Black's queen coming out to attack one of White's undefended pawns. White has a few main ways of dealing with this. White can defend his pawn with his own pawn. The move I prefer is to defend that pawn with the white queen. Lots of options here, but Radjabov playing very quickly up to this point. Magnus, it looks like he jumps forward with his knight. This is perfectly viable as well. I've seen Magnus play this actually with both colours. He once played a game from the black side, I think, against Boris Galfand. So,
wow, great memory, David.
Not as good as Magnus's.
Yeah.
But either way, Teimour Radjabov did get the first surprise in. Now Magnus tried to surprise him back, playing one of the least common moves, or maybe one of the lesser. Yeah, I mean, Radjabov, the problem is he's just playing with a rook. What else can he do? You can barely move the black knight, you can't move the black bishop.
Give a check.
Check. White blocks that with his rook.
Don't swap off rooks. Resist that temptation. Keep your rook alive.
That's black's only active piece.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're just giving a free hand for the white king just to walk its way into the left side of the board. And okay, now just
Magnus is
passed again. Well, you can't really do too much, can you?
Yeah, Magnus is slowly improving a pawn there, getting ready to push it forward. Maybe next turn, maybe much later in the game. But either way, there's no rush for Carlsen. As you mentioned, Black just has to literally just move the rook up and down, and wait.
Yes.
Nothing else to do.
Well, one good thing that Radjabov can see is that Magnus's air quality isn't necessarily that great.
It's so warm.
It's very, very warm.
It's always warm, but 28, that's as warm as it's ever been.
Right, and also the humidity. It must be dry, so...
Who needs exotic holidays in some hot countries when you
Go to Magnus Carlsen's place. It's more than warm enough.
Okay, so Radjabov. Okay, instead of moving the black rook up and down, he just moves the black king. That black king's not going anywhere anytime soon. Magnus can always force it back later on. Magnus can use his rook, maybe attack one of the black's pawns. But first, what's the next step in the plan for Magnus Carlsen? It's clear that he's winning. He's one pawn up. He's got complete control. So it's just a series of mini plans now, just to make slow but incremental gains. Slowly make progress. Ivanka, what do you think the next step in the grand plan should be?
Well, ideally, you'd like to actually mobilize the king, and you'd like to get it into the position, but unfortunately, the Black Knight is doing a good job of that. So
just generally blockading,
just blockading and controlling squares. So, I mean, the pawn that I'd like to win is actually the one that's furthest most on the left. But I'm just assessing whether it's possible to just go on a big adventure with the king. I mean, how to do
White's
it.
king.
Yeah, I mean...
It's very tempting, right? Just to be completely paralysed. Radjabov just resigns.
Wow! Teimour Radjabov, he resigns the third game against Magnus Carlsen, and I can kind of see